Do you have anything before we wrap up, Adam?
About Ivey saying we need to get off our panties? Oh yeah, I've got a lot, but it is 10:58, and so I'm going to save it for overtime.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Our governor, Ivey, she was giving an address to the Athens Limestone County Chamber of Commerce. For those of you who don't know, the Chamber of Commerce is not a government organization. It is the Federation of Bosses in regional areas. So this is the organization of bosses in Athens and Limestone County that she was speaking to. And she was talking about Alabama's labor force participation rate. And she said that she wants to get it up because, so now she's saying basically, we've done everything there is to do on the unemployment rate. Now we got to start focusing on the labor force participation rate. And so when she said that initially, you know, I was not opposed to it. You know, I think that there are things that can be done. We can have free education for people, free workforce retraining. We can create more government jobs with the state by doing important public works projects like updating our schools and libraries and county and municipal buildings. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in Alabama. People in Lowndes County, Alabama, a lot of them still don't have sewage, is my understanding. There's a lot of work that we could be doing as the state. There's a lot of training we could be doing as the state. And so, you know, look, if we want to attack the labor force participation rate, there's a lot of stuff that we can do. But that's not what she wants to do. Instead, Ivey wants to scold us. That's what she wants to do. She said, quote, "We've got to get to work on getting 50,000 folks who aren't looking for jobs, get them off their fannies, get them looking for jobs because there are jobs to be had." What I mean, this is how they view us, right? We don't work hard enough. We are lazy. That's how the governor of our state views her citizens. She says people are not in the workforce, therefore they are lazy. And so the way to get them into the workforce is to scold them. Instead of thinking about, for 2 seconds, why is it, maybe, that somebody isn't in the workforce? Are they caring for their children? Because remember, actually, if you take a look at the working age labor force participation rate in the country, it is as high, basically, as it has ever been. If you take a look at the number of people that are aged 25 to 54, see how much of them are in the workforce, it is 83.2%. It was only higher in the late 90s, and it only ever got to 84%. Okay? So we are basically having as many working age people working as we ever have. Right? So if somebody's before 25, maybe it's fine that they're not working. Maybe they're in college. If somebody's over 54, maybe it's fine that they're not working because they're retired. Maybe if somebody's even in between there and not working, maybe they're taking care of their children, which is something that people like her, people on her side of the aisle, say that women aren't doing enough of. Saying that, oh, women, you know, they need to stay home and take care of their kids, and then they're going to turn around and scold those same women because they are staying home and taking care of the kids. You got to pick a lane, folks, because if every woman stayed home, guess what? The labor force participation rate in Alabama wouldn't be 60 or 70%. It would be 50%. It would be 40-something%, right? So you got to pick a lane. Do you want people to work or do you not? And then if you want people to work, you got to figure out how to support them instead of scolding them, because that's not going to get people back on the job. If you want people to work, you got to figure out how to support them. Maybe there are people that are not able to work because if they work, then if they work just a little bit, then they lose their Medicaid, which means that they don't have any health insurance and they could die. Think about how perverse the system we have is, that working could be a death sentence. And that's even just thinking about if they're going to lose Medicaid, right? Because, and that's not even taking into account that Alabama's workplaces are more dangerous than the workplaces of 46 other states. Remember, we have the 4th highest workplace fatality rate. 5.5 per 100,000 workers on the job are going to die in Alabama. this year. Right? So there are a lot of things that we could be doing to bring our labor force participation rate up. But they don't want to do that. They just want to scold us. And so, I'm not super interested in that, actually, as a working person. So that's what I've got to say on that. Do you have anything before we wrap up, Adam?
Oh, yeah, I've got a lot, but it is 10:58, and so I'm going to save it for overtime.
All right, yeah, let's do that. We're going to take a couple of plugs, and then we're going to wrap that up after we get off the air. Yeah, so Adam, what are your thoughts about that?
About Ivey saying we need to get off our fannies?
Yeah. Did you react positively to the scolding of our governor? Do you think that makes a lot of sense?
Yeah, there was a lot that went through my head. There's a lot of things that I will not say publicly that I said when I heard her say this, because I find it really demeaning. I find it really insulting to people. 1 in 3 adults in Alabama has a disability. 1 in 3.
Right.
As you mentioned, with Medicaid, we have some of the strictest Medicaid requirements in the country. And over 300,000 people in Alabama would gain health care if we expanded Medicaid. Over 300,000. There are over 200,000 Alabamians currently caught in a coverage gap. They make too much for Medicaid, but not enough for health insurance. Right? That's over 200,000 people. Let's see, what else went through my head? Oh, yeah. The fact that Alabama doesn't invest not $1 in public transportation. Not $1, not a single bit of state revenue is dedicated to public transportation in the entire state. It took years just to fight and achieve a public transportation trust fund. 5 years later, there's no revenue.
Right.
5 years later, no public transportation, right? Folks have to be able to get to work if you want them to participate. If you want them to work, they have to be able to arrive at work, get home from work. Okay, what else we got going on? As I mentioned, the healthcare aspect to it is so huge because there are folks out there who maybe could work if they had appropriate health care. There are people out there who are struggling with substance use disorders, mental illnesses, physical illnesses, recurring illnesses, that if they had proper health care, they could work. But we don't do that in this state, right? We don't give a shit about health care in this state, according to folks in state government. And it's very frustrating and it's very demeaning to say that to people who are struggling and are fighting so hard just to survive. They want us to think that there's just like this mass of folks who are lazy, good for nothing, mooching off tax dollars. And that's just really, really insulting to the working class folks here in the state. I don't think Ivey would want to swap places with them. And there are a lot of folks out there who, if we had proper infrastructure, if we had proper health care, if we had proper transportation, they could participate in the workforce. They could be, fully productive members of society as they're expected to be. But as you also illustrated, a lot of these folks have responsibilities and are doing things right now, taking care of sick parents, taking care of sick kids, taking care of multiple kids, taking care of not just their own disabilities, but other folks with disabilities. That's all happening. And these people are also, in many cases, working in the cash economy. How many of these 50,000 folks she's talking about are working?
Right.
But they're working under the table. They're working for cash. They're doing, illegal jobs, however you want to talk about that, for various reasons. Because let's not forget, criminal justice is a factor here in the state of Alabama, because the state of Alabama has one of the highest incarceration rates in the United States. That means inside our borders, we lock up more people than almost any other place on planet Earth. Those people have records.
Yeah.
How many folks would work if they were given a chance? But because of prior arrest, you know, they got locked up for pot, they got locked up for petty crime, something happened in their youth. Now 10, 15, 20 years down the road, they're struggling to find gainful employment. There's so much you could get into there. And just to say, get off your fannies, I think is really, really revealing of a limited mindset. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And no, I don't appreciate it as a working class person.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.